Pop. Where's my fucking?
I thought you clapped. What's up, Crypto Don Juan?
By the way,
Well, Isaiah and who's that guy? Layden, yeah, that guy. Yeah, they went to Wendy's. Probably. I don't think so, but I went outside to take fish out, and the door's wide open because they're so stupid. Found.
Isaiah also supported.
I found Bladen's debit card as well in the drum, complaining that Isaiah lost it when it was probably just him, regular self. What's up, guys? Tony, what's up, man? Russell? Yeah, I'm currently sitting in a short right now. Just based that we got an under, and as well on our higher time frames as well. See right here, we still got an under on the swing time frames. Not saying that can't change. I do think that we could see some upside because we are in a little pennant formation, but it could be a bearish, a bearish pennant temporarily. But I'll go over some of that stuff as we continue talking. But last night, you guys, kind of got me interested in doing some alts, so I might be diverging some of my time from Bitcoin. Because I mean, as the alts, a kind of alt season rolls around. I'm not saying alt season's starting, but I will start looking at them a little bit more, just because since they're even younger than Bitcoin, the volatility is even crazier, and where volatility lies, profits come with it. Are you kidding me? So this guy named James came over to my house today, and Fish pissed on him. Pissed right on him. So I had to give him a new pair of clothes. Oh, that's always great. So Fish has been a bad dog today. He deserves no respect. He still deserves love and compassion, but nothing else. So ETH is kind of sitting at a potential drop point. If it dips below this, it's probably going to come back down to about $200. Might staircase itself back down. Let's see. We do have an under on ETH right now. That'd be about 3%. If it can come down here, 5%. I don't know if it's going to come all the way back down, but if it does, we're sitting in a short. Some money. Hey, hey, Mikey. How you doing, man? I was playing Borderlands today, and I was gonna join you, but I didn't feel like I was welcome. I need to put my contacts back in. I like glasses, but I don't like the reflections of light on the glasses. So my settings right now, for short-term trades, I'm running a 7, 15, 30, 60 with predictive closes off. I still have the swing time frames going on in the background, with predictive closes on. And like I was saying last night, the higher the time frame, the more accurate those predictive closes will be. But if you're using lower scalping time frames, you don't want to use predictive closes, just because the VWAPs can switch on you very, very fast on a lower time frame. So predictive closes don't really hold as much strength in those ones. But I mean, we were using predictive closes on the, we were using 10, 20, 40, 60. And I mean, it was killing it. It was killing it as well. I mean, you just got to be able to set this thing up as best as you possibly can, and then you'll be fine. Obviously, you have some other things in the background that can help you out as well. So you can see I kind of got my. Someone sent me a message on Discord. Let me see who that was. His name's Crypto Fever, and he sent me like a little like layout. Obviously I can't copy and paste his exact settings, but it looked cool and it looked really nice. So I was like, I'll give it a try. And it's got, I don't know if it's easy to see on your guys' side. Hopefully it is, but it's purple. That's pretty much what it is. Um, and it was just it allows me to see this VWAP a lot easier. And that's VWAP leader. Okay, that's my prime suspect whenever I'm making a trade. Let's see. We do have a little bit of bullish divergence, but how far that's going to go. Let me show you what we're looking at on Bitcoin as far as a pattern is concerned. Maximize this. You can see right now. Let me go to the 30-minute chart. You can see that we're kind of in a bearish pennant. Okay. Now, let me highlight it by getting some. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at right here. This is the current pattern. Now, to debate whether or not this is bearish or bullish, I don't think it's bullish, but like anything, Bitcoin can do something that people aren't expecting. So it could break out to the upside. Now, if we break out to the upside, I mean, our target stays the same whether or not, but go ahead and get the target for this. All right, so let's say we break out at the end of the pennant. This pennant. I wouldn't say that this target right here at about 11,261 is going to hold true. We could potentially get a wick up to that, but I don't think the candle body is going to get up to that. I think we're probably going to get stopped out at 10,950 because we have these two macro resistances staring us in the face, and I don't think they're going to be able to get past that just with the way everything's looking. Hello? Okay. Now you can see right here I did earlier what the exact target is. Where'd you go? I thought you went to Wendy's with them. Yeah, they went to Wendy's. So either way, if we break out to the upside or the downside, we're gonna just be tapping the resistances and the supports. So if we do go break to the downside, I think we might find temporary support around 9,700, and then probably scratch our way over to this little pennant right here. And then whether or not we break to the downside, I'm just gonna have to wait and see what my indicators are telling me. Because I mean, the indicators, whether or not you know what a pattern is supposed to do, the indicators usually give you a indication of which side it's going to break out to beforehand. And that's the key thing to all of my trades, whether or not it's a triangle pattern, a bull flag, a bear flag. I just go based off the indicators. I have been on pretty much, I would say 90% of the time, I'm on the winning side of a pattern breakout. If we go to the downside, I would say temporarily it'd be about a 4% gain if you're shorting. And then at most, I would say, 10%. Now, I don't know whether or not we're going to see the lows that everybody's talking about, because everybody wants Bitcoin to go down just because it allows you to buy cheaper Bitcoin. But I don't think that we're going to get that chance just yet. It's going to take some time. We have all the way till May in order to have a full breakdown in order to buy our Bitcoin cheaper. But if you've kept up with a lot of the news channels, is that new? The cotton? So it tastes a lot of the cotton, but it tastes good.
That's why I made you.
Wow, that's foul. because typically Bitcoin doesn't like to have all-time highs before the halving event, but it likes to have it after the halving event. But with all the things happening, economic wise, like just the other night, um, if you watch a lot of these news channels, they're not really talking about it on mainstream news, but the interest rate on short-term bonds, very very short-term bonds, went to 10% overnight, and it was sitting at 2%. So in order for the Fed to make things better, they bought the bonds off of everybody at that higher interest rate by injecting $51 billion out of nowhere. They just printed it out of nowhere, and they're actually going to be they're already talking about injecting another 75 billion. Collectively, that's $126 billion. That's, let's see, what's the market cap of Bitcoin right now? Market cap of Bitcoin is only $183 billion. So the fact that they can just print money that's equivalent to the entire market cap, almost, of Bitcoin out of within a couple days, should tell you that it's not a sound plan. And the last time this happened was in 2008, right before the financial crash. So something big's cooking, and if something, Bitcoin thrives off of economic turmoil, whether or not it's in China, the United States. But this time around, I mean, with the global bond market and the current state of our bond market, I mean, it's just going to explode the value of Bitcoin. So, I mean, last night we were looking at Bitcoin and the way it behaved and the results that came out of it based on technical analysis last night. And I mean, the last time Bitcoin did something similar to this, it went up 3,000%. And if we go up 3,000% this time, that's $300,000 per Bitcoin. So I mean, you can only hope, right? But the way things are moving, it's going to get exponential very quickly. I mean, you just keep up with real news. Do your own research. I'm not saying go down the rabbit hole of a conspiracy theory, but understand macroeconomics so that you can better understand what you should do with your money. Because the only people that benefit from these types of situations that we have put ourselves in are people that own assets instead of currency. Now, Bitcoin, it's a currency, but it's treated as an asset. It's digital gold. It's not used to buy goods and services, but it is a middle ground for those goods and services. You can take Bitcoin and you can turn it into any currency in the world. It's the best situation for everybody. Now, I'm not saying that Bitcoin, within the next 10 years is going to be the currency, but it will be the middle ground currency, the one that is traded between countries to settle debt, just like gold is now. But with gold, with Bitcoin, you don't have to transfer, 1,000 pounds of gold to pay off the debt, which could get stolen or, have a hiccup and a ship could sink. Now, obviously, there's so many measures in place to make sure that stuff doesn't happen because it is so valuable. But with Bitcoin, it's fast, it's secure. You can transfer $50 million in 15 minutes. Nobody asks any questions. And I mean, that's a threat to financial governments just because you just slide past all the regulations. But regulations are there to keep people secure, but it's not only to keep them secure, but in order to keep everything controlled. And I mean, that's a good and bad thing. I don't think governments are evil, but I definitely don't think they think of the best interest of the people. That kind of rhymed. What's up, Harry? How you doing, man? I don't think anything interesting is going to happen tonight, but maybe Bitcoin could surprise me. I mean, we are getting to the pinnacle of this little pennant right here. By September, I mean, listen, you can't make this shit up. I mean, literally, the end of this pennant is on pretty much the 22nd exactly when back comes out. So something big is going to happen. It's probably going to get very boring until then. We do have some potential downside all the way to come to, maybe $10,000 and then bounce back up. But currently we've been holding support at about $10,121 for the most part. We did have earlier today this little wick that came down. I wasn't able to capitalize on that. I don't think I was awake during that time. What's up, Latin Crypto? How you doing, man? Oh. Yeah, I should have fixed the mic. Sorry about that. Alrighty. You can see our little VWAP is curling upwards. We got a little bit of bullish divergence. You can see that the VWAP is following the exact pattern of the technical analysis right now. And you can see it's kind of bottoming out. We're actually getting some bearish convergence off of this one, but we're actually getting bullish divergence off of this one, I believe. Kind of hard to tell. Kind of. It's kind of flat rate, but that's how it's going to be for a couple days. Hopefully it does come back down. Let's see. I've been in a short since here. It can come back down to that macro support. Well, not macro support, but temporary support. Be about 16% on 10x. I mean, that won't be too bad for the meantime. Simple moves, simple gains. Now, I mean, we're all looking towards making this massive move here. And hopefully everybody in the Market Cipher community can get on the right side of it and pay attention when the time comes, because when it happens, it's going to explode, just like this one did. I mean, this wick right here, I mean, this was a 30-minute candle right here. I mean, these were just happening so fast. It's going to happen very, very fast. And if you're not awake and you're in the wrong position, you're going to wake up and you're probably going to have lost a lot of money. Now, obviously, you could have your stop losses set up and such. I would say if you're going to go long, have a stop loss set up at about, I would say, 9,800. Now, obviously, with that being said, if your stop loss is at 9,800, don't be using 10x. You need to use your stop loss as an indication of what leverage you should be doing. That's how you should be playing these. Depending on which pattern you're playing. Obviously, if you're playing a smaller pattern that doesn't have a crazy stop loss, that's like 5-6% away from your entry, you'll be fine if you do like 2-3x, because then it's only like 18% rather than 60-70%. A lot of people get caught up because higher leverage means more money, obviously, if you're on the right side, and people love money. But my dad and I were talking, and my dad is not wealthy in the slightest. He lives off of Social Security. He gets like a couple $100 a month. So I let him borrow some money, and I mean, he was crying when he took the money from my hands because he felt ashamed, but I didn't feel bad. Just because he's my dad and I'm giving him money doesn't mean that he's lesser than me. It just means he needs help. But he was asking a question which I didn't have a direct answer for. He said, how do you think you were able to get so wealthy so fast? Fish. And I first gave him a speech about how wealth is knowledge and not just money, and money comes along with knowledge. But I kind of felt like this was exactly what helped me. You ever been trying to find something? Oh my god. Fish. What? Dog. But you ever been trying to find something, whether it be your keys, your debit card, your wallet, anything? You're trying to find it. You desperately need it. You can't go on. You can't leave the house without it. And you just can't find it. But the second you stop looking, the second you don't worry about it, and you say, it will happen when it happens, that's when you find it. I think the same thing goes for currency. And I know that's a weird thing to say, that if you stop striving to become richer and richer, that it will just happen. I'm not saying that it just happens. It does require work, but you need to focus on becoming better, learning more, so that those things will, you plant a seed and it grows. And I know it's a whole bunch of, stuff that people don't want to hear, that it's just something that, it's only that, hippies think of when they, want to manifest their destiny, but it really does happen. Focus on becoming a better trader rather than making the most amount of money. Just because you're not trading doesn't mean that you aren't building wealth. If you have to paper trade for 2 years before you actually start seeing results, do that rather than losing money. You can obviously accumulate Bitcoin. I mean, dollar cost averaging your way through the entire Bitcoin cycle from its beginning to its current state right now. If you were dollar cost averaging, you would be in heavy profit. You can accumulate that way, and then when you actually become a good trader, then you can start trading the Bitcoin that you've accumulated. So don't focus on making massive amounts of money, but trust me, you understand what is happening when it needs to be done. You will be on the right side of history whenever Bitcoin does make a massive move. Whether we break to the downside or break to the upside, money will be made. Don't get me wrong. And hopefully, you're watching the charts when that time comes. So I'm going to tell you right now, around, I would say, past this point, okay? Past this point right here, we have about 2 days. This is where your alerts need to be on overdrive. You need to have an alert at every single major resistance and support zone so that when the price gets there, you will be alerted. Because if you're going based off of other slower alerts, you might miss the move entirely. So I would probably set one up. Let's do some fib retracement real quick. Let's see. Do the temporary ones, the smaller patterns. Are you serious? Which one? I mean, it pretty much lines up exactly with this. So I would set up a price alert probably at about 10,030. I'd also set up a price alert above. I would set up a price alert probably about 10,400. And in these occasions, if you understand where Bitcoin is going and you hop in early, it's not FOMOing. It's just understanding that, hey, you kind of missed the entry point. Doesn't mean that you can't hop in on the middle of the ride. But the problem comes in where people FOMO and they have no idea where it's going, what the stopping point is. Because sometimes people FOMO in at the stop point and then it turns around on them and they wonder, is the market secretly intelligent and it just wants to do the exact opposite of anything that I do? No. Think of the market as a living, breathing organism that doesn't have any emotions. It just goes purely based off of mathematics and that's how this works. You don't just like the market that doesn't have emotions and doesn't care if you lose money or gain money. You need to feel the same exact way. You need to understand that decisions have consequences, whether they be good or bad, and you need to put in your money when it counts. Don't just throw money at the market. Don't go enter shorts based on some news. Actually look at what's happening and base your judgments off of that. Yeah, I'll mention it to him. I haven't really been going off of the Kite strategy, the Kite crossing alerts. I just have my old VWAP alerts on. So, let's say for this one, for example, the 7, 15, 30, 60. I have a VWAP alert on the 60 minutes. So that means if the 60-minute crosses over, I can go check the chart, see if I got an under and over, and then enter that way. I feel like that's a little bit more consistent rather than. Now, obviously, that doesn't work if you have predictive closes on because it might not be under or over yet, but you're getting the under symbol, which a lot of people in their head that doesn't click, but I'm sure there's a reasoning for it. I'm sure it's based on like velocity, how fast the VWAP per candle is getting towards that 0 point, and they can calculate ahead of time whether or not it's going to cross it. And that's where if it's a higher time frame, it's more accurate because it's harder to change that trajectory. Obviously, it can change, and we've seen it a couple times where it's done that. But for the most part, higher time frames, they're headed on their way there. It's like a falling knife. You can catch it if you're very, very careful and throw it back at the person. But most of the time, that knife is going to drop because people are too scared to catch it. Fish, come here. Come here. Come here. You're gonna trade Bitcoin, okay? The mouse, 100x short ETH. Boom. Looks like an alien, but he's cute. I think tonight's gonna be nothing but a philosophy stream because Bitcoin, I don't think it's gonna do anything for a couple of days. We actually just might go sideways, literally for, another day before anything happens. Because if it keeps up and keeps doing what it's doing, obviously we could have some pretty nasty wicks that go all the way straight back down, but then immediately back up and just go sideways again. That's what we've been doing. Hopefully, we do get another move like this one, but we are kind of sitting on the bullish side of this triangle. So, I mean, just based on that, I'm hoping that we do get an over and then we can shoot upwards because I would love to long this and then short it rather than the opposite. Just so I can accumulate more on the way back down. Let's see, from here at this point right here, we've gotten over. I'm expecting it to probably shoot somewhere up to here, so that'll be about a 7.28% gain, and then probably get rejected. Now, if that does happen, the next thing I'm going to be looking for is to see that if we can find support on this fib line and then do the same exact thing like we did over here. And then maybe, just maybe, we can break out upwards. If that does happen, let's see. Say that's based off of. I'm kind of waiting to see what Bitcoin does and where it falls to. Obviously, the thing that everybody's looking for is for it to drop like a rock, just straight down to 7,500. If that happens, awesome, more money in my pocket. But I'm just trying to keep my mind open that there's some other possibilities, just because Bitcoin never does what people think it's going to do. I mean, back in the 2017 bull run, people were like, okay, it's in a correction period. It's going to take this long, blah, blah, blah. It's going to have to drop down to this much in order for it to fill a gap or something. And Bitcoin just took off again and did like another 200% in a week. So Bitcoin doesn't give a flying fuck what you want. It's going to do what it's going to do. And I mean, if these institutions start stepping in and just pumping money into the market, trying to save their capital from financial collapse. It's going to explode Bitcoin. Um, and then shortly after, probably the altcoins. What happened to my chart? Trading view. I like how every time I go to trading view, it pops up this chart. The chart. Bubble. Same bubble. I think this is a true Bitcoin chart. I think that they're right. $100,000, $500,000, rocket moon ships. Fish, you're on an eating schedule now, buddy, and so am I. I'm not saying that a long here wouldn't be bad. Check V1 drop plus EMA cross 30 minutes ago. On what time frame? Because we do have some exaggerated bullish divergence on the 12 hour, but I would really want to see this get a little bit closer. We have a lot of exaggerated bullish divergence on the 12 hour, but it needs to confirm first before I make any action based on that. Let's go to the 6 hour. 6 hour, bullish convergence, not bullish divergence. Got some bullish divergence right here from these two waves. Yeah, you can check on them. Let's put them in there. Stop. Five, 10, 15 minute. I don't think the 5, 10, 15 minute can show you that you should long for the macro pennant that we're in. I don't think that's a plausible thing. Not to say that you're wrong. Obviously, you could turn out to be right. I just think from my perspective, I don't think the 5, 10, 15 minute can give you that observation. Maybe for a short term long, and that could carry over to a long term long, but just based on my indications right now, I don't want to be sitting in a long just yet. Because on the swing time frames, we still have an under. On the shorter time frames, we still have an under. And they haven't failed me so far. So that's what I'm going based off of. I set my take profits up whenever the trade starts to go into play. And then we go from there. ETH is just chilling at this support line right here. Get a bounce, it'll probably return back up to its macro resistance. See if that happens. Probably looking at a 4.62% gain, but I mean, it still has an under. If you get an over down here, I would put probably a take profit at about 215, and then the last take profit about 217. Maybe even before then. I'll probably do, let's see. Yeah, I put my first take profit about 215. My second take profit 217. So I eyeballed it correctly. Yeah, I do take profit based on fib retracements and Gone fans, because Gone fans, they're going at an angle, so that take profit could change, slightly, and it saved me a lot of money. I mean, there's been times where if you would have held on to it for just a minute or two longer, the price turned back around, you would have lost, 10, 15%. Like this one, for example, I had to take profit, set up at 10,400. Not 10,400, my bad. 10,000, just below this macro resistance. And you can see it wicked past it, immediately went back down. So I mean, if I didn't even have to watch that trade in order for it to go out correctly. Hold on. Okay. Problem. Problem. Dude, I need to get a giant Swiffer duster in order to get my house back in order. Because there's so much dog hair everywhere. It's on everything. See, we're starting to get that slight bounce off of ETH. Whether or not it plays out, it could just get stopped out at about 10,000. I mean, $210. So used to gigantic numbers. He's coming to get you. He said, "You don't cuss at me." I just need Bitcoin to do something. I've had a couple streams where something crazy happens and it takes us all off guard. But come on. Nothing's going to happen, and I know it. Right now, it's just mental masturbation, as Crown Crypto likes to call it. It really is. Because for the next couple days, it's just going to be boring as fuck. But then, Bitcoin's going to do something crazy that nobody expected, and it comes out of left field. A lot of people are going to make money. A lot of people are going to lose money. And then from there, if we do bounce all the way down to the bottom, I do think it will be a dead cat bounce. I think something, just like over here. Let me go back to, because I remember this night like it was yesterday. Right here. Wait, no, right here. Okay, so I was holding this short all the way down, and I was watching my resistances, I was watching my supports, and I got a long indication down towards the bottom on the 3, 6, 12, 24 method. And within a minute or two, it literally just popped back up. I mean, I made like on this short right here, I was holding it all the way down. I made 140% on 10x, and then I switched to a long, made another 40%, held that long all the way up. It was this right here was the prime time for scalping, because you had a 65%, you had a 64%, 70%, 40%, 90%, 90%, 60, 37, 60. I mean, it was just the best. I hope Bitcoin gets back to that, but first we gotta just kind of resolve this macro triangle before we get any situation like that again. I mean, I am hoping that this macro triangle does hold, because that would just be beneficial short term. I mean, obviously, buying Bitcoin at a cheaper price, nobody can complain about that, because everybody knows technology beats price. I was trying to explain this to my granddad, that there's a couple different laws that that explains Bitcoin's value, even though it's not a physical currency. And he just couldn't understand that concept. And I was like, okay, you got a telephone, but that telephone is useless unless somebody else has a telephone. Therefore, the value of that telephone just went up by 2. Now, you get a whole country full of people with telephones. Telephones are now the most essential thing for communication in our day-to-day life. You can't live without it. I'm not saying you can't live without it, but it just helps you exponentially. It's something you want to have. I feel like Bitcoin's going to get to the same way. If you don't have Bitcoin, you're kind of screwed. Everybody's going to want Bitcoin. Not everybody's going to have Bitcoin. Even though there's, trillions of Satoshis, there's only 21 million Bitcoin. And a lot of those are being held by people a lot richer than you and I. Because the way I like to put it, okay, let's say there is a catastrophe happening and people are going to need natural resources such as water, food, guns, ammunition. Before that catastrophe happens, if you have the inkling that's going to happen, you go and you buy all the water, food, guns, ammunition, and you stockpile it for when that time does come. I think Bitcoin is being used as the same way. It's being used as it's being used as a hedge, but all the rich and powerful, they're stocking this Bitcoin. They're not spending it, they're just buying it because they know that at one point there's going to be a financial collapse, if you want to say that everybody's going to need this asset in order to continue what they're doing, whether it is to save their money, whether it is to buy a good and resource. They're going to need this, and they're going to pay a higher price for it. And my granddad, I use that analogy because he was like, if someone just holds on to Bitcoin and they don't use it or spend it, how does it gain value? I'm like, because other people want it, and they're going to pay you more for that asset. Just like, people say it's unethical, and it is unethical. If there's a hurricane coming, you raise gas prices. People say that's unethical, but it's just supply and demand. Obviously, if you have the supply, if you're artificially saying that the supply is low and the demand is, higher than average, but average fish, then that is unethical. But if you're actually running out of gas and the demand is higher, you're going to be charging more for that gas, whether or not it is an essential resource to save their life or not. You're going to do what you have to do in order to get the most money for your resources. And that's the same thing that's happening with Bitcoin. People are just stockpiling it. I mean, you can look at the addresses that have been accumulating Bitcoin for years, and the outflow of Bitcoin from those addresses are minuscule compared to how much they're actually intaking. So they are just stockpiling. And if Bitcoin does drop, you've heard it a lot on some news sources that this will be the last time that Bitcoin is ever going to be this low. And I can guarantee it, because if it does dip the way everybody's saying, it is going to be bought as fast as it dropped. It's going to be amazing to watch. If you understand how the market works, you're going to benefit just as much as these whales are benefiting. But we're just doing some mental masturbation. We're just talking some bullshit, waiting for the price to do something. I've been kind of tired the last couple days. I think it's my diet. I really need to start intermittent fasting again, because when I was doing it, I felt absolutely fantastic. My hormones were in balance. I was a healthy weight, but lately I just been kind of falling out of it. I've been drinking too much soda, getting too much fast food, not doing any exercise. So I think the next couple of days, while Bitcoin's doing its Bitcoin thing, I think I'm going to start doing, some off-stream stuff in terms of my health, just so that I'm more energetic, more personable, and all that stuff on stream. Because right now I feel like I'm doing a terrible job, just because I'm like not here. And that's a good time to be not here, because Bitcoin's not doing anything. So I don't have to really worry about making any critical decisions. But trading, it's a mind game. It's about being the healthiest you can possibly be, so that when it comes down to using your brain, your body is also in peak performance to help that out. And currently I'm not. So nobody to be sorry to except for myself. So, but the streams, I love them. I love talking to you guys. You guys are the absolute best. Coming here and supporting me every single time I stream. It's tomorrow afternoon is where I'm gonna start doing the video on Kite Crossing, getting the update video out for that. I'm probably gonna delete the old one. I just don't like the way it turned out, and I'm gonna republish this new one. And I think that'll be pretty good for a lot of people, just to see how how to set it up, how to put it onto Market Cipher B. The pros and cons of using predictive closes, a lot of stuff like that. A lot of people say that I'm the whale, and there's some stuff backing that up, but I'm just one guy. I can't control everything. Granted, a lot of the times where I would disappear for a long period of time, and then like 10 minutes after I show up, something big happens in the market, and I forgot who it is on Discord, but every single time that happens, they're like, I knew it, I knew you're the whale. But no, it's not me. I'm not a programmer. Like I said many times before, I always wanted to learn. I'm going to try to learn once I get some free time. But as of right now, I need to focus on my health, as well as just, some family stuff. You might have noticed that I've been not streaming a couple days just because I had to go down to Georgia, spend time with my sisters, go down up to Delaware, spend time with my grandparents. I've been going over to my mom's house a lot, just helping her out with daily stuff. So I mean, it's just been kind of busy for me lately, and I can't really just sit down at a computer for hours. Obviously, I got Borderlands 3, so I'm taking like 2 hours out of my day to play that. Fish, listen, man, you are fine. Have ate enough today. You have water right there. I need to get you on an eating schedule so that I can take you out properly. Because you are 1 year old. You are still not properly house trained. You're doing better, but you're still not properly house trained. And that's my fault. Nope. Stop crying. Stop being a baby. Lay down. No. I think I've showed you guys this video before, but this is Fish. That's you. Trying to teach him. Dude. Hey! We're one and the same. The audio is wrong. Is it not matching up with my face? Fish doesn't snore unless he's like propped up, just like a dad where like their neck like goes down and they start snoring. He's just laying down regular dog style. He's fine. But Fish, like me, has a double chin, and it's like you can literally, it just hangs. You can go do 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 double chin. He doesn't like it when you do that. Are you going to Bali? Crypto Face will be there. No, I'm not going. I just don't see the point. I mean, those types of conferences are awesome, especially because you kind of get in contact. You get front row seats to see some of these teams for some of these cryptocurrencies, and they can actually talk about it in front of your face, and you can hear it straight from the horse's mouth what it's about, and that's always beneficial. But a lot of the times, it's all on YouTube. I don't need to go to Bali. It'd just be a lot of time. I won't be able to stream from Bali. There's no way. Yeah. So I replaced the VWAP with Wolfpack, and so far it's been doing pretty damn excellent. I mean, it's essentially the VWAP, but I feel like it's a little bit more accurate. Um, when times are slow, it stays closer to zero, but when times are crazy, you can see like right here, it just takes off. Now, I feel like with that being said, front running Wolfpack isn't as dangerous um as front running the actual VWAP off of Market Cipher. Market Cipher looks like it has chicken pox now. That's all I gotta say. It looks like it's ready for Christmas time. You got all the red and green little dots everywhere. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, people that go to these trading conferences I feel like are the biggest scams in the book. Now, essentially all they are is a bunch of people preaching psychology of trading, but no actual technical analysis or anything like that, which isn't a bad thing. But people, when they go to these conferences, they're looking for the secret sauce, something that's going to make them money, and they don't have to do anything for it. Trading is a constant battle, not only against other traders trading the same asset as you and trying to outsmart them, but with yourself, being healthy, being consistent, not having emotions attached to your trades, being able to exit a trade knowing that the loss was not in vain, stuff like that. It's a constant battle. And okay, Fish needs to go out. He's scratching the front door, so that means he really needs to go out. So I'll see you guys in just a moment. Be right back. Yeah, Fish is my boss. Use the Wix on this, just since it's pretty much exactly where it needs to be. What? No. No. Got water. Wolfpack is this yellow and red VWAP on this version of this market cipher right here. And I think I inverted my my stochastic. Actually, no, I think I have it the same. Yeah, I think I do. Red bullish, green bearish. What are the dots? The dots are on the new version of Market Cipher. So if you have Market Cipher but you don't see the dots, like I'm about to do right here, okay? You need to delete Market Cipher. Go to indicators, Market Cipher, Cipher B, and then boom, you'll get all the dots and all that jazz. Market Cipher is a incredible looking indicator. I'll have to say that. I mean, if anything, Market Cipher is a beauty to look at. Now, understanding that beauty, that's where people have a problem with. Prestige. Are you talking about the big move, or are you just talking about, still maintaining this pennant right here? What in the... Dude, Fish is having zoomies right now, which is kind of a good and bad thing, because short term, he's going ballistic, and he might actually pull my Ethernet cable out of its socket. But that means he'll be tired, so that's always a good thing. This 10-minute VWAP on Ethereum has been killing it. You would have entered short right here on this candle. Would be at about a 20% gain. Now this one was questionable because the VWAP was below 0 when this shit happened. That goes against the laws of physics. VWAP, what is your problem? I guess not. You really couldn't have caught that one with only the 10-minute VWAP. That thing happened so fast. That was what, 7%? No. I mean, the total thing was 7%, almost. 0.5%. way my portfolio is split up, I got about 60% Bitcoin. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but it's split up after that pretty much equally between Ethereum, um, Litecoin. Litecoin being the least, it's actually not equal to anything else. Basic attention token, a little bit of Tron, uh, a shit ton of Monero. I love Monero. Um, Now Cardano and Monero essentially are almost the same thing, but I kind of like Monero a little bit better. Might just be because Monero's being used a little bit more on the darknet. And if you see major adoption on the darknet of any coin, that coin is going to be used a lot and maintain its value. So I mean, basic attention token, it's essentially being able to advertise using this cryptocurrency. And I mean, today's day and age, there is billions of dollars pumped into advertising. So therefore, I think it's just a good idea to hang on to a little bit of the basic attention token. Um, just that's my opinion. I've been holding it for quite a while. I've seen a lot of gains off of it. It's nice to have. Just buy up some coins. I mean, obviously research the projects, understand what the coins are trying to do. And don't dump your entire portfolio into them, but hang on to them for a little bit. Because just like the .com bobble, not bobble, not everything's gonna last, but stuff like Amazon lasted. So if you can just have a little bit of Amazon, it's gonna make up for everything that you lost. Obviously, if you do it smartly, if you just dump hundreds of thousands of dollars into these altcoins, eventually one of them is gonna tank, if not all. I don't think Ethereum's gonna tank. Cryptomania Brazil, thank you very much for the donation, man. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for stopping in today. That's like last night. This is gonna be a shorter stream. I just don't feel that good right now, but definitely I'm gonna try to start getting some stuff back on order, back in order, and start getting things together. We obviously will still be doing streams all the way up and through this massive move that's coming up. I just don't think the streams are going to be worthwhile. I mean, obviously, we talk about a lot of other stuff besides Bitcoin, the psychology behind trading and all that. But a lot of people, they come here, they want to know if I'm long or short. They call it a day. But right now, I am in a short from all the way up here, but I just don't think it's too early to tell what this is going to do. As we get closer to the end of the triangle, I'm going to be looking towards my swing time frames to really understand whether or not I should enter a long. Currently, as it's sitting, we do have bullish divergence, exaggerated bullish divergence on the 12-hour. It needs to confirm, but it's there. So hopefully, if that does play out, either way this goes, as long as you understand what the charts are telling you and you make the right move. Right here, coming up to the upside, 6%. With maybe a drop all the way back down here, so that'd be about 110% gain if that goes through. If we drop down to here, that'll be a temporary 40% gain, maybe move over to the side, drop back down, total of 90%. Now, obviously, if it drops down to as low as people are saying, that's going to be the ultimate move, and it's easier to get down to that. That's going to be like 22, 25%, all the way down to 7,500. So, it's boring right now, but it's going to get very, very exciting very soon. And hopefully your portfolio, is on the right side of it. Because if we do go short, more money, more Bitcoin. If we do go long, not as much Bitcoin, but more money to throw back into our short. So it's going to be like this probably all the way up until May. After May, that's when I'm probably going to start, dumping a lot of money into it. just trying to see what the best price I can get it for is. So I have a 1080 Ti, and with this ultra wide monitor, I can't run Borderlands at ultra settings and get above 60 FPS. I can get like between 50 and 60 FPS at ultra settings, but that's at a 3440 by 1440p resolution. I haven't tried it on either of these screens, but I try to get, above at least 100 frames per second just so I can take advantage of that higher hertz. But I run it at like a combination of medium and ultra settings, and I can get 100 to 120 FPS with a 1080 Ti. So I mean, it's an awesome game. It really is. I mean, just more Borderlands. I love that game so much. Crypto Brazil, thank you so much for the compliments, man. I'm sorry I've been kind of slow lately, and I'm gonna try to get a hold of that, all that stuff. But I mean, I try my best to help people understand the other aspects of trading and not so much, I do a lot of technical analysis, and that's, you know, exactly what you need to do. But it trading really is, it's a mental battle, and that's why I like Crown Crypto Cave when he was on painkillers and stuff. He was not doing streams. He was not doing, a lot of trading because he understands that when you're not in a sound mind, you can't make good decisions. I mean, trading it's even more sensitive than getting drunk. I mean, just a slight bit of emotion can change what you do drastically. And that's why trading needs to be an unemotional process. You need to trade like a bot that has no emotions. And then, what would a person do to influence the bots to go to their direction? That's the method behind the madness of everything I do. And so far, it has not failed me in the slightest. Now, obviously, I don't have the processing power of a bot, so I can't do all these little micro moves. But for the moves that matter, like right here and right here, right here, I mean, these back-to-back trades were absolutely phenomenal. I didn't even have to be in my computer. Fish. I didn't even have to be in my computer to make these trades. I just got alerts, set up a short, boom, 16%. Got a long indication, boom, short indication. Well, I got the short indication towards like right here, but that was another 10%. So I mean, it was about 35% back to back to back. Because this right here should have been the drop, the big move to the downside. But it wasn't. So I mean, it's starting to look a little bit more bullish because these pennants are cut in half, and whichever side it's on, that tends to be the side it busts up to. Now, obviously, this is a descending triangle, so those technically break to the downside. Well, let's say we break to the downside, but we find support right here, and then continue to work our way back up, and then we bust out up to us upside. We just kind of have to wait and see where the price action takes us and what it tells us in order to make that accurate decision. But as of right now, I'm still gonna be holding my short until I get a long indication, because, like I said, we could probably drop to the downside, go down to about 10,030, and then start working our way back up. Hey, don't be mean. Just threw his stuffed animal like a throwing knife. Yeah, you're right. Because a lot of the times before these massive moves, they like to clear the board. They like to discourage people throwing in a trade so that they can soak up a lot of it. Because a lot of the times they need to get their orders filled if they are trying to make them. Fish? Are you serious? No. No. I gave Fish free roam of the house today. Usually I keep him in the same room as me, and he doesn't have free roam. But this time I'm leaving the door open. He can go anywhere he pleases. I'm trying to let him understand that this is his house and not to wreck it. I don't think he's handling it that well. Are you now using the 7 through 60 besides the bigger? No, so I'm still using the swing time frames. Um, but I'm using them in conjunction with the smaller time frames. So, let's say, let's go back to this little setup right here. Okay, so this right here, go to 60, 180, 360, 720. Okay, let that load for a second. So I my strategy has always been DCAs. Um, I feel like they give me more uh, accurate calls and allow me to not stress as much about what position I'm in all the time. So, for example, we still have an under symbol on our macro swing time frames. So anytime I get an under symbol, depending on where the price action is, I sprinkle a little bit on to uh, my position. Obviously I need to see that we're at the top of the pattern and not at the bottom of the pattern, that kind of stuff, because it makes no sense that if you're in a short, you want to keep your entry higher rather than bringing it down lower, because it's DCAs are all about maximizing your risk to reward and just allowing you to be stress free. Yes, the method has been working out pretty much properly. Um, like back in this position over here. Um, as the price was going up after we got that gigantic drop from uh, our macro resistance, I was in a short this entire time, but I knew that it was eventually going to have to break down. So I was taking short positions at all the major fib lines, slowly inching my short entry up. So by the time this all transpired, my short entry was about here when it originally started, right about here. Because when we came down and dropped and found support, I took profits and then re-entered short just so that I could, secure those profits. And then as we went up, I slowly built up my short position just because we were maintaining an under on our swing time frames. And then so by the end of it all of these DCAs, they were in a profit. And as the price went lower and lower, I didn't add more onto my position. I wanted to keep my shorts as high as I possibly could so that if the price did come back up, I was still in profit. I didn't have to stress about it. Um, and then as we hit the bottom and we hit this triple bottom, I started taking long positions. Started taking long positions, and as we started flattening out, I think somewhere around here, that's when I exited those long positions. And I have been doing a tad bit of scalping, just a little bit on the slightly higher time frames. I was able to take advantage of this right here, but as far as that, I'm not trying to scalp these small little moves right here. There's just no reasoning behind that. I mean, you can't really make money off of these unless you're using like 30x leverage, and that's just not something I'm looking to do, especially when this macro triangle could break out at any time and just go spiraling downwards or straight upwards. Yeah, if you draw the pattern out and you're at the bottom of the pattern, you want to be taking longs. If you're at the top of the pattern, you want to be taking shorts. So like, let's say you have a triangle, for example. Let's just make a metaphorical triangle right now. Okay. Fish. Okay. So I would say that anything around the top of the triangle, you know, all the way up to about here, this is where you want to be taking shorts. And as you creep down to the bottom of the triangle, my bad, you want to start exiting most of those shorts. It doesn't mean that you can't continuously short. You just want to secure your profits before anything happens, because you could go to the bottom of the triangle, test support one last time, and then blast off to the sky. Um, it's all totally possible, but you just have to understand what you're doing with the DCAs, because DCAs, very powerful tool. I always say that, but if you don't know what you're doing with them, you're going to dig yourself a greater hole. And I mean, let's say you aren't a trader. I would still be using dollar cost averaging, and it's what I was using during the 2016 2017 bull run. I was just constantly buying the dips, and what that does is it dollar cost averages your entry on the entire thing. By the end of it, pretty much every single DCA, no matter what price you bought it at, would be in profit. Even if you were dollar cost averaging your way down the bull market, you would still be in profit right now. Now, maybe, you know, a couple of your DCAs would not be, but the majority of them, that's what matters. Because it's all about having more trades that are winning than losing. Um, like you can, a lot of people, when they're doing scalping, they'll have a failed scalp trade, and then they'll just exit it with a loss, and then they'll get all mad, and then, you know, they might bet more next time. But a failed scalp trade could turn into a swing trade. You don't want to, like this right here, okay? Let's say you were in a long, and then it dropped, you know, 17% at 10x. You could have easily saw that it found support, and you might have not taken into account that it might have hit this macro resistance. But let's say your take profit was here, okay? You could put in another long. Let's say you took a DC, you took your first position here, and your second position here on this over, okay? That would probably put your total entry right here. So as long as you can get above this line, the entire trade would be in profit. So that means you wouldn't have to exit a loss, because the second you take that loss, you don't get it back. But if you DCA, fish, the second you take your loss, that eliminates that that Bitcoin from your portfolio, and you're not able to use it anymore. But if you use DCA to exit the trade with either minimal losses or in profit, you didn't lose anything. The mic is pointed at my face, but I can't put it directly in front of me like I used to, just because of the 3 monitor setup and everything. I have to bring the mic arm over the monitor, pointed at my face. It's just because I'm kind of low energy right now, so I'm not able to, um, you know, get all energetic, and I can't, you know, start yelling and screaming. I probably am gonna get off the stream in, you know, 10-15 minutes, just because I'm not feeling up to it right now. But tomorrow I'll be fresh. I'll be able to get on, and hopefully on one of these streams I'll be able to catch the big move. Because I mean, like I said, there's about 2-3 days left. That's all we got before this happens. The pinnacle of the pennant is at, let's see, why is it? Okay, there we go. It's not showing me the time. What happened to the time? Oh, let me try to refresh it. So the pinnacle, oh my god, it's not letting me go That is strange. It was doing it earlier. I was able to go that far. But it's pretty much at the 22nd exactly. Like the change between 12 o'clock to 1 a.m. It's that second, or that hour. So I will be up when that happens if it doesn't break down or break up sooner. If we stay in this descending triangle the entire time, this one will end. Let's see. That's 12 or 20. So I would say the 21st around, maybe 8 p.m. It's kind of hard to tell without it allowing me to see what the time is, but I will be up for that. Do I put much weight on MACD crosses? I look at them from time to time, but since I'm, majority a scalp trader, I'm usually looking at some other indications. And with Market Cipher, I really don't have to pay attention to those, because those, they screw a lot of people over. Because let's say you get, a bullish cross, you might enter long at that bullish cross, but golden cross, whatever you want to call it. But sometimes those take a week to play out. Yes, you might get a golden cross, but the price can still drop momentarily. That's where I'm thinking, okay, let's say, you know, let's say we got a bullish cross. I'm not saying, that's what happened because I haven't checked, but let's say we got a golden cross. We could still drop all the way down to 9,700 with that golden cross, and then see the bounce and that comes all the way up. So I'm just kind of waiting and seeing what's happening. Still currently sitting in the short. Everything's under, and there's no reason for me to kind of exit it right now. And I just think it's going to stay flatline like it has been. We could see a couple more wicks that come down, or we could see the same exact thing happen over here. But the moves are going to get much, much shorter, and it's not going to be that profitable for scalping. So if you are trying to scalp these small moves, I recommend that you don't do that, because you could very easily get caught in the wrong position at the wrong time scalping like that, and this type of trade you won't be able to come back from because you will get liquidated. Alrighty guys, I think I'm gonna head off. I'm gonna go ahead and just chill out for the night. Tomorrow I'm gonna get that video done, and I'm gonna upload it probably around like 3 p.m. And that way, if you guys have any further questions on kite crossing and the new stuff that comes along with version 2, I'll try to get that all figured out. If there's any specific questions you guys want me to go over, I have my Discord name in the description, and you can go ahead and send me that question, and I can incorporate it into the video somehow. And that way I can have a better understanding of what some real world questions would be, rather than things I can just think up in my head. And then tomorrow I'll try to stream a little bit earlier, probably around 9 p.m. I would say. Try to get in there. And then, like I said, it's going to be very, very boring for the next couple of days. But hopefully we are on stream when that gigantic move happens, because that's going to be very exciting. Gets the blood pumping. Never settles. Thanks for the donation, man. Appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys later. We'll have fun times, and do some more mental masturbation, as always. PL, thank you, man. Have a great night. Picking up pennies in the front of trains. I like that. I'm usually in the Scalp channel. I've been kind of quiet lately, but I'll try to get back into the flow of things. Being away from the computer and all that for a couple of days, it's kind of put me off. I don't know how to do everything. But I am in the Scalp channel on Market Cipher Discord. I haven't really opened up my Discord channel to anything public yet, I might be doing that in the future. I just have to get the channel sorted out so that people that were using the channel beforehand aren't, you know, they don't get confused. I'll have to let them know. But yeah. Prestige, see you, man. I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce your name, Alejo. Thank you, man. Good night. I'll see you later, man. Robert, peace out, buddy. All right, guys. I'll check in the next one. I'll probably be on, like I said, tomorrow around 9 p.m. EST. So if you want to catch me then, I'll be on then. Alrighty. Peace out, guys.